Hey everybody, my name is Tommy and this is my channel, Counting on the Big Sleep. This is vlog number 17, I think. It is August 31st, around 1 p.m. on a Sunday. And I'm at the woods today. And this has been my first full week back at a new job. Basically the same type of job I had before. Which is kind of weird, but the hours are different, and it's an hour away. Um, yeah, basically, kind of working with the same company, which is kind of weird, you know. But my hours are 9 at night till 5:30 in the morning, so it's different hours. And man, I'm beat. I mean, they're brutal. I'm my body's beat up. I'm too old to do manual labor. Too fucking old. You know? Like, damn. It's weird because, I worked for this company called We Drive You. And when I left We Drive You, they said, hey man, don't ever fucking come back. They said, don't ever come back to our company. Don't ever go to any company that we associate with. So, when I got this new job, they associate with that company. But the new job didn't inform We Drive You that I'm working with them now. So, I wash buses for like a company called, I'll just say, it's Valley Metro. And I wash buses for them, but the drivers are We Drive You drivers. They're in the union and everything. Right? The union I used to be in. They're in the union I used to be in. So it's kind of weird because I work on this. I work with basically with the same company, but like in a different department, separate. Like I said, it's weird because when I left that company, they told me, "Fuck you, man! Don't ever fucking come back to us. Don't ever fucking come back to our company. Don't ever come back. You are fucking out. You're quitting. Fuck, get out, get out." It was not a good breakup. It was not a good breakup with that job. But I'm waiting to see how that's all going to plan out eventually. Who knows? I don't know. But the hours are 9 at night to 5:30 in the morning. So, oh Lord, I've been up since yesterday at 3 o'clock because I'll start work at 9, get off at 5:30, get home by 6:30. 6:30 try and relax and unwind for a couple of hours at least. But by 8, 9 o'clock, I'm trying to sleep. So I've been falling asleep around 8, 9 o'clock, and I've been getting up around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And then I'm up like 5 or 6 hours before I have to be at work. Well, at least I think I'm sleeping. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it feels like I didn't really sleep. That's the only thing, because I'm just used to that certain schedule. I'm used to getting off around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, staying up, being able to do what I got to do until about 5:30, in the morning, or 4 or 5 in the morning, and then going to sleep. Now it's like, the time I used to go to sleep, I'm still at work, and the time I get home, I feel like I'm being rushed to try and sleep. And I've been taking some sleeping medication too, but because I have chronic insomnia, like I'll be up. I can stay up, a good 3 days. I used to, when I worked as a security guard, you work nights, I would micro sleep a lot. That's where you sleep for like a few minutes and you wake up and then you're up for like 9, 10, 12 hours. So I would micro sleep a lot. And that's where the that's when some of the night terrors started happening back then. Because the sleep pattern was so bad. You know, it was just terrible. But with the sleep medication I'm taking, like I said, I think I'm sleeping, but sometimes it feels like I'm not really sleeping. I don't know, or not well rested. But as of right now I've been up for 22 hours straight, so I'm a little loopy. So like I said, I worked all night. Got off at 5:30, got home at 6:30. Stayed up, went to church. Just the second time I've gone to church. Went to church. It's not for any certain religious purpose or anything like that. It's just, just a new experience, and, a little bit of like a thank you for at least getting me this job, because, I was out of work for 6 months, close to 6 months, and I'm still close to losing the apartment and everything, but at least I'm working. But I'm driving, like I said, an hour there and then an hour back. So sometimes you pray for something to happen, and then when it happens, you realize that, yes, it happens, but there's these obstacles that you have to overcome somehow. Because God doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying God did this or that. I'm just saying, it's not always, just because you wish for something and it does happen, doesn't mean that it's going to be easy doing it. There's still a lot of hard work that has to go into it. So, so it's my, I never really went to church too much when I was younger. They used to scare us all the time in church. When I first time I went to church, they told, first thing they did was separate me and my niece. We went to church together. They separated us, and they sat me with one kid, and they took her somewhere. And then they proceeded to tell us the story of Cain and Abel, which I was like, oh my God, it was like, it was a horror, and I was like, my God, they're telling me this brother guy killed his brother because of jealousy and stuff, and it's like, I'm like maybe 6. Oh man, the sun's coming in. Sun is coming in. But yeah, and I was about 6 years old when they told us that story. That was my first experience going to church, which really scared the fuck out of me. So I never really went to church too much after that. I always watched the preachers on Sunday morning. Jack Van Anapee, was the World of Tomorrow was a church program. The Shepherd's Chapel, I watched that when I was. That was my church. When I was younger, because I was afraid to go. I didn't want to go to church. So I watched those programs. But it was just different experience. Because not being in a church for such a long time. He was telling us reading it from the Gospel of John, I believe. And he was talking about how Jesus was talking to this woman. He had to travel somewhere. He was talking to this woman, and his disciples were all like, why are you talking to this woman? And because back then, I guess, a woman didn't really have, I don't know, value, maybe something. I'm not really sure. I didn't understand the whole thing. I'll be honest with you. I really didn't. I really didn't understand what he was talking about. That's the truth. And they're a nice church and stuff, but I didn't understand the whole point of the story. But then it could be because I've been up so long, and my brain is a little loopy. And after told that, well, what they do, they play music. They got people playing kind of like rock music, and they're singing for a couple times. So you stand, and then the preacher guy comes up and he starts talking, and he tells you stuff, and then then he tells everyone to hold hands and say a prayer, and when they did that, I wasn't, I don't know, maybe from lack of sleep or something, but I was just staring right ahead. Look, because they got 2 big TV screens that project, what his words are and stuff, what he's reading and stuff. So I was just kind of staring ahead, and he's, everyone grab hands, and, I'm just staring. All of a sudden, people started looking at me. I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. I don't know what to fucking do, was like, fuck, okay, yeah, hold hands, and everybody says a prayer, and it's the whole church only lasts about an hour and a half. Like I said, I didn't really understand the whole point of the story. It was like, I don't know how they say it. It was, he said, number 27 through 30. I think because he was quoting John, so I assume he was talking about the Gospel of John part, But yeah, I didn't understand it. Jesus talking to this woman, and then the woman not really having value somehow back then. I wasn't sure. I don't know. And something about, I don't know, he married 5 times or something. Like I said, I didn't really understand what he was talking about. I really didn't, But just a new experience stuff, try new things, But yeah, it was okay. But, just being up, this long of a period, because the sleep pattern is just way fucked. My getting off at 5:30, getting home at 6:30, and trying to go to sleep right away, just isn't really working for me. And if I stay up too late, I'm afraid I won't sleep because I suffer from chronic insomnia. I could be up for a couple days, but then I don't want to be driving around like that because then I start getting lost because that happened to me before. Lack of sleep when I was a security guard working nights. Lack of sleep, micro sleeping every like 30. About 3 or 4 minutes, you'd micro sleep, and then you'd be up like 7-8 hours. Now, sometimes even 15 to 20 hours. My sleep pattern is so bad. It's terrible. It is. That's why I got to look for something that's a little closer and a second shift so I can regulate my sleep better. Oh. But yeah, that's why I'm a little loopy. That's maybe why I didn't understand what he was saying, because I've been up for so long. But it was, it was a nice church, People shook hands. They remembered me. They're like, "Oh, hey, Tom, yeah, I seen you last week. Oh, hey. Yeah." I don't know what to say, And they had this fruit out there, tomatoes and some other kind of fruit for anybody who wants some, But I didn't take any. I'm not. I'm not. I mean, I'm just trying to go to give back a little bit, I guess. The whole time I'm in church, my niece Barb, who died years ago, she's in my head. Kind of like laughing at me. I could hear her, under my head, laughing at me and stuff. Say, what are you doing there, you fucking bastard? Alright. Yeah, I get it. Oh, man. Let's see, I think, yeah. Something popped up. But, yeah, vlog number 17, August 31st. If I haven't said it already, I probably have. You don't want to hear the ramblings of, because I've been up so long. I'll just ramble on. My brain is so loopy right now. I'm going to try and get home and get some sleep. I think I'm going to try and sleep. I'm not sure. Or I might just stay up continually. But who knows. But, I don't know. Thanks for watching. If you want to hear any stories about church or anything from my childhood, let me know. How it was in the 70s? I'll tell you, when we were little. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you. Bye.